Shit. Don't try this at home, kids. T-I-D-E-O-G-O. You can use your Tide to go. God bless a Tide to go stick, and God bless Chapel Rowan. And that's all I have to say. End video. No, I'm kidding. That's just the beginning of what I have to say, because I'm a yapper. By now you've probably deduced that I'm in the midst of a big reset today, a big life and home and mindset reset, gear shift, if you will. And all of that is really geared towards prepping for summer. And as you've already seen, I have done my physical space refresh, my flat, done my laundry, made my bed. I'm feeling good, feeling fresh, feeling organized, and now I can dive into sort of mental reset and mental prep and planning for June, July, and August, because I have quite a bit going on, honestly, over the next 3 months. So I really want to sit down and organize my thoughts and figure out how certain things and certain plans and certain things that I want to accomplish over the next 3 months are going to fit in with what I already have on the docket. So I've got my calendar down off the wall, which, side note, I love this calendar so much. It's from an Etsy shop called The Tiny Toucan, and the illustrations are just absolutely gorgeous, stunning, love them so much. Also really love the family format. By the time I had ordered this calendar back in December, the shop was all out of the standard regular, you know, 30 or 31 boxes format of a calendar. So I got the family format, got the days and dates all lined up along one edge of the calendar, and then 4 columns where you can incorporate different events on the same day. And quite honestly, I don't think I'm going to go back to like a regular standard format calendar because I'm really loving this format. But that's a tangent, and also, I'm in no way affiliated with the Tiny Toucan Etsy store. This is not sponsored, or like there's no connection between this channel and that Etsy shop. I just really like this calendar. I like to have everything written down on a physical calendar on my wall because then it's just there staring at me and I don't have to go into my digital calendar to know necessarily that I have something going on a given day, because I'm constantly being reminded of it because it's constantly right in front of me. And then again, writing down everything I have going on at the beginning of a new month month or a new season acts as a reminder, and again just allows me to figure out how all of my other goals that I want to achieve are going to fit in with the plans that I already have standing. Obviously I have some personal goals that I'm trying to fit into my summer. I have a number of habits that I'm trying to incorporate into my life, which is proving harder than you might think. A lot of what I have going on this summer is going to be actively breaking routine. I'm going to be traveling a lot this summer, as well as hosting some visitors, some people who are traveling here to see me specifically. So I really want to hammer down some of these habits that I want to incorporate so that I can really stick to them even when my routine is shot to hell because I'm on a plane or whatever it is I'm doing, and I can at least keep some semblance of routine with these habits that I'm incorporating into my life. Travel happening. So over the next 3 months, I will have 2 separate visitors coming to see me. Well, my first visitor is coming at the end of May, so it's not technically quite summer yet, but I should have this video posted before that visit happens. I have 3 separate trips planned, 2 personal and 1 professional. So I will be taking a long weekend city break to Riga, Latvia. Very excited about that in June. Work plans, business in the States as well, but I will have to travel to actually get to that place where I'm working. So that's it. That's technically 2 trips in one because it's just 1 hop across the ocean, 1 transatlantic flight to cover both of these trips, but there's obviously going to be travel in between to get from one location in the US to another. And then I also have family visiting me in August, which I think we're going to do a wee road trip. Just a tiny one and just within Scotland, but obviously I'm going to be leaving my flat and it's going to be interrupting my routine for a few days. So I really want to nail down a couple of habits to incorporate. I really want to nail down a couple of habits that I can carry with me through those travels to at least keep some semblance of routine. The really big habits that I'm trying to incorporate are to hydrate first thing in the morning. I've given myself all of the tools to do this and then I don't do it. I keep a water bottle next to my bed. I keep a glass of water on my bedside table. I don't know why I'm not reaching for it. I wake up dehydrated and feeling like a husk. And on the rare occasion that I do actually sit up and drink my water before I do anything else, I feel so much better and I am able to get up and be more productive throughout my morning and really enjoy my morning. So I don't know why I don't do it more often. I lack the discipline. But I'm hoping to change that, and I think the real issue with my morning routine is that I'm reaching for social media first thing in the morning. It's a problem. You know, instead of reaching for my glass of water, which is just sitting there and screaming at me, I'm reaching for my phone and I'm getting on TikTok at 6:30 in the morning. Because I wake up relatively early, and then I just doom scroll for 2 hours, and there goes my entire morning. And I don't want that. What I would love to do though, and the habit that I'm really hoping to incorporate here, is to replace my 2 hours of doom scrolling with 20 to 30 minutes of reading first thing in the morning, whether it's on my Kindle or a physical book itself. I think what's happening is I'm waking up and my brain is just not coping reality. My brain is just saying, we're not ready to face the world yet. Go escape somewhere. Consume something. And so I'm reaching for content via social media when I could be reaching for content via literature, via a book. And I think that would just be a much healthier habit for me. And probably the healthiest thing for me to do would be to just drink my water and get up and start my day as soon as I wake up. But honestly, if my brain is not ready to face the world at 6:30 immediately upon waking, I'm not gonna force it to be. If my brain says, let's pick up some content to ease into this day, that's what I'm gonna do. And at the end of the day, I don't think anybody can really tell me that reading a book first thing in the morning is somehow bad for me. I don't think that's an argument that you can make. Is a personal goal of mine, but also obviously one of my reading goals, and it is going to feed into a larger reading goal that I have for the year, which is to read more physical books, or at least read more books physically, i.e. on my Kindle or as a physical paper book. It's also going to feed into another reading goal that I am just now incorporating, and honestly, there's no way I'm gonna complete it in just the summer, but I think I can maybe do it over the course of the rest of the year, and that is to read all of the books that I own physically, which is not a lot in comparison to some other bookish creators. I have been on a visa for 2 years, almost 3 years now. Wow. By the end of the summer, I'll have been on a visa for 3 years. I've lived in Scotland for 3 years. That's a long time. Okay. Okay, I'm fine. It's good. Anyway, I've lived on a visa. I've been in a state of impermanence for the past 2.5 years, so I've been trying not to accumulate too much. And also, I'm just like really averse to buying things for myself. I have horrendous consumer's guilt, like nausea-inducing consumer's guilt when I spend any kind of money on anything that's a non-necessity for me. I am getting better about it, but it's been an issue. So I don't own that many physical books that I haven't read in comparison, but it's been building up. I have gotten a few gift cards to Waterstones over the past 1.5 years, and I'm still working my way through them, but it does mean I've purchased some books that I haven't read yet. Plus, my flatmate has a couple of books that I would really like to read, so I really need to start shopping my own personal library. I'm a huge advocate of the public library. Use your local library. I love the local library. I literally have a degree in archives and library science, so you'll never hear me going against a library, but sometimes we need to shop our own personal libraries, and I think that's something I need to do a bit more of this summer, despite the fact that I have so many books that I want to read that are so accessible through my local library that I can get the audiobook or the ebook on Libby, and it's so easy, and I want to read those books because I'm a mood reader. But I also really want to read the books that are on my shelf right now currently, so incorporating that, 20 to 30 minutes of reading first thing in the morning is definitely going to help with that. I'm also, like I said, I'm going to be doing quite a bit of traveling, and that's going to involve several flights over the course of the summer, so I'll hopefully be able to get some physical reading done over the course of my 4 international flights over the next 3 months, 2 of which are transatlantic. I'm also likely going to end up spending several hours on a train in transit between cities in the US, and then I also anticipate having some downtime during my travel plans in August, so I'll be bringing some physical books with me then as well, hopefully be able to get to those. And some of these books that I physically own I have also incorporated into my specific summer TBR. Like I said, I'm kind of a mood reader, and so I do tend to build my TBR around vibe. And for summer, that mostly means slashers and horror. Particularly in July, I just start to crave things that feel like the 3rd season of Stranger Things. So far, I've only managed to find one book that has actually lived up to those expectations that I have in my head, and that is The Sundown Motel by Emily St. James. So I am currently still on the hunt for books like that because I know that craving is going to hit me in July. Summer slashers, horror novels set at summer camps. These are kind of like my go-to vibes for July, for which I don't have a set TBR just now, but I do have a few specific titles that I want to get to at other points throughout the summer. The first is Funny Story by Emily Henry, which came out either earlier in May or at the end of April. I'm not entirely sure which, but regardless, it is a new release, and it's a roommate's fake dating romance between a children's librarian and her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend, who is also now her roommate, hence the roommate's fake dating. Emily Henry's been a bit of a mixed bag for me. I really loved Beach Read, and in particular The People We Meet on Vacation. Loved that book. I think that book changed my brain chemistry when it comes to Friends to Lovers. Prior to reading that, I really hated Friends to Lovers, but afterwards, I could be a Friends to Lovers girly. Book Lovers, though, I really wasn't a fan of, and I never actually read Happy Place, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Funny Story will, in fact, be a funny story and that I'll enjoy it. And then the second new release, which is not out yet, it doesn't come out until August, is The Pairing by Casey McKiston, which is a queer friends to lovers to exes to enemies to lovers again, I think, romance. Friends to lovers to exes to back to lovers romance set on a European food and wine tour, which is come on, what more could you want? I love Casey McKiston so much. Their books have become like real staple comfort reads for me. I love their characters. I love their writing. I think it's so romantic. Not necessarily in the sense of like, you know, love hearts and chocolates and teddy bears on Valentine's Day, but more in like in terms of the artistic movement of the romantics. That's how I feel about Casey McKiston's writing. It's shiny, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's inclusive, it's community, and it's friendship, and it's love, and I love it, and it's beautiful. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I have loved everything I've read by Casey McKiston, which is all of their books thus far, and I'm really looking forward to getting another one. I do also have 2 recent hauls that I want to read. In fact, I'm gonna go grab them. Two books that I recently purchased that I'm really looking forward to reading. The first is this one, The Kamigawa Food Detectives by Hisashi Kashiwai. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Over the past like 3 or 4 years, I have just fallen in love with Japanese fiction. There's something about it, I'm not entirely sure. It might be something to do with the translation to English, honestly, but it also could just be like the cultural syntax. There's something a little bit stilted and very straightforward about the syntax I have found in Japanese fiction, and it really strikes a chord with me. I love it so much. I feel like calling it stilted sounds like an insult, but I love it so much. It's somehow incredibly straightforward and also incredibly poetic at the same time. And I'm not gonna lie, this was a cover buy. I saw this cover, I saw noodles and a cat, and I said, I want that book. So I purchased it, and then I read the inside cover, and I thought, actually, this does sound like something I'm really going to enjoy. So The Kamigawa Food Detectives is about a father-daughter duo of restaurateurs who start to gain notoriety for their skills as food detectives. They're advertising their ability to recreate a dish from their patrons' past, any dish from their customers' past, to, how is it put in here, that may well hold the key to unlocking forgotten memories and ongoing happiness. This just sounds like such a sweet and wholesome book, and I'm very excited to read it. And then the second one is a book that I have heard mentioned a couple of times on like BookTube and Book Talk, and I wasn't entirely sure what it was about, and to be honest, I'm still not entirely sure what it's about, but it's Big Swiss by Jen Began, and it sounds to me kind of like a potentially pen pals to friends to maybe sapphic lovers. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. Could also potentially have like a stalkery element to it. The blurb on the back says, Big Swiss, that's Greta's nickname for her. She is tall and she is from Switzerland. Well, that's how Greta imagines her. They haven't actually met in person. What Greta doesn't know is that she's about to bump into Big Swiss in the local dog park. A new and not entirely honest relationship is going to be born. So I'm not sure if this is a friendship with secrets baked in, or if it's maybe like a sapphic thing. There's no explicit mention of a romance between the characters, so again, I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I'm excited to read it. I'm intrigued. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm intrigued. I would also love this summer, although it's not a massive priority for me, but I would love to reread Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, because there are actually 4 books in this series now, and each of the books seems to be seasonal. So I own the first 2. I own Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is the summertime, the one set during the summer, and then the next one kind of feels more autumnal. It's got a yellow cover. The third feels very wintry, and the fourth feels very springy, and I would love to read all 4 of them, but it's been a while since I've read the first one, so I want to go back and reread that at some point during the summer and then carry on through the seasons with the next 3. So those are my reading goals and my TBR for this summer. I'm gonna round this out by talking about a couple of my writing goals. I do have a critique group meeting coming up next week, although it's not my work that is being critiqued this time, so I need to finish reading and editing the current work that we're all looking at, which was written by a friend of mine. I'm also, as you may know, currently working on my second draft of my current work in progress, for which I recently received feedback. For my first draft, I received feedback. So I'm just over 34,000 words into my second draft, and I'm anticipating the total word count to be somewhere between 120 and 130,000 words. So I do have a ways to go before this draft is complete, but a lot of my first draft is going to be added into my second draft, so I am anticipating word count to happen a lot quicker, to go up a lot faster on the second draft than it did on the first draft, though I am adding a lot of new stuff as well. My hope is to have this second draft complete by September. I was able last summer to write an entirely new project that wound up being about 65,000 words over the course of June, July, and August. So if I was able to do that for an entirely new project, I am hopeful that I can hit that roughly 90 to 100K more over the next 3 months, just incorporating new stuff into what I have from my first draft. So I am pretty confident that I should be able to complete this second draft. And then at the same time, I am fleshing out a couple of new ideas. I have one in particular that is just premise right now, but I'm absolutely in love with the premise. So currently I'm trying to work out certain logistics and details of the background of this premise before I can even start the story itself. And because my writing routine generally involves taking a break every 30 minutes or so from what I'm working on, I can work for 30 minutes on my second draft and then spend 5 to 10 just kind of brain dumping and sorting out other ideas that I have going on, and then I can return back to this second draft and keep going. And that generally works out pretty well for me, but it also is not something that I can do over long periods of time throughout the work week because I do work a 9 to 5. And obviously it will be interrupted by all of the traveling and visitors that I have going on during the summer. So I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself with those new ideas and really focusing on this second draft and getting it completely finished by the end of the summer. It is a very summery book though, so the vibes are there, the vibes are right, the atmosphere is kind of exactly what I want to be living in throughout the summer, so I think that will be helpful for my productivity. My goal is going to be roughly an hour of writing every day, and then obviously if I have the capacity to do more, I will, but because I'm working, I really only have like an hour on my lunch break, and then either in the mornings or the evenings, depending on the day, and obviously weekends as well, I will have more time to devote to the writing itself. And speaking of writing on the weekends, you should be seeing on this channel a couple of new Writing Like the Greats videos coming out over the course of the summer. Very excited about those. Very excited to incorporate more AuthorTube type content on this channel than what I have been doing. So those are the plans. Those are the plans for the summer. I'm really looking forward to reading these books that I was talking about and also getting through the books that are on my shelf, as well as finishing this second draft of my novel, and I'm really looking forward to taking you guys on those journeys with me. So without further ado, I'm gonna sign off now because, like I said at the beginning of this, I'm a yapper and I have just yapped for far too long. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell to see when I post new ones. I love you guys, and until next time, peace out, Brussels sprouts.